Attention all operators on countdown 1. This is the final go, no-go poll for...
Picture a moving truck backed up to a house. This is not a small truck. This is a huge truck. It is the kind of truck that carries an entire family home in one single trip. Now picture loading that truck. You are not loading couches and boxes. You are loading entire space station rooms. These rooms are full. They have walls and floors. They have wiring and air pipes already inside. They have toilets and science racks. Everything is built and finished before the ship ever leaves the ground. This is the right way to think about Starship version 3. It is not just a rocket, it is a flying building. The cargo space inside this ship is about 1,000 cubic meters. That number sounds big, but it is hard to imagine. Think about it this way. 1,000 cubic meters is about the same as 4 large suburban houses. It is like 10 city buses stacked full of stuff. All that space sits inside a metal tube that is about 9 meters wide. 9 meters is about the width of a 2-lane road. The tube gets a little tighter in some spots. It narrows to about 8 meters of usable width. The length of the space for cargo is about 18 meters. That is longer than a bowling lane. This space is real and it has a specific shape. It has doors and it has structure. It is built to carry things that were never possible to carry before. Most rooms on the International Space Station are much smaller than people think. The Columbus lab is about 7 meters long. That is shorter than a city bus. It is about 4.5 meters wide. The US lab called Destiny is about 8.5 meters long. It is also about 4.5 meters wide. These are the main places where astronauts live and work. To picture how they fit inside Starship, imagine a hot dog inside a trash can. The hot dog is the space station module. The trash can is the Starship cargo bay. This is a huge change for space travel. Before Starship, we had to build things in tiny pieces. We had to fold things up like origami. Then we had to unfold them in space. This is very hard and very expensive. It is like trying to build a house by sending 1 brick at a time in the mail. Starship lets us send the whole room at once. This means we can build things faster. We can build things for less money. We can build things that are much stronger because they do not have to fold. But there is a big problem that people do not talk about enough. This is the mass problem. Mass is just a fancy word for weight. Even though Starship is huge, gravity still matters. If you fill that big cargo space with heavy things, the ship cannot get off the ground. A moon base is not just about having enough room to walk around. It is about protection. The moon is a dangerous place. There is no air. There is no magnetic field to stop radiation from the sun. Radiation is like invisible fire that can make people very sick. To stop it, you need thick walls. On Earth, we have a thick layer of air that protects us. On the moon, we have to bring our own protection. One way to do this is to cover the base with moon dirt. But moon dirt is heavy. Another way is to make the walls out of thick metal or water. That is also very heavy. Each extra inch of protection adds hundreds of tons to the weight. Starship version 3 can lift huge loads into space, but landing on the moon cuts that load in half. It takes a lot of fuel to slow down and land safely. Think about the engines. Starship uses Raptor engines. These engines are very powerful. They can change their power smoothly. This is like how you can press the gas pedal in your car a little or a lot. They can go from 40% power to 100% power. This matters a lot when you are trying to land. You need to be able to adjust the power very precisely to keep the ship balanced. It is like trying to balance a broom on your finger. You have to make small moves to keep it from falling. SpaceX rockets can do this because their engines are smart. Older rockets are more like an on-off switch. They are either at full power or they are off. You cannot land a big ship with an on-off switch. You would hit the ground too hard or fly back up into space. This technical mastery is why SpaceX can do things other companies cannot. They have built a machine that can dance on its own flame. The cost of doing this the old way is very high. One launch of the NASA rocket called SLS costs $4.1 billion. That is a billion with a B. To understand how much money that is, imagine if you bought everyone in the city of Houston a brand new car. That is how much one flight costs. Starship is meant to cost about $10 million per flight once it is working. That means one SLS launch costs 410 times more than one Starship launch. You could launch a Starship every single day for over a year for the price of one SLS flight. When you are trying to build a base on the moon, these numbers are the most important part. You cannot build a city if every flight costs $4 billion. You would run out of money before you even had a kitchen. We also have to think about the race. The moon is a competitive scoreboard right now. China says they will land people on the moon by the year 2030. At first, the United States was going to beat them by 4 years. Now that gap is getting smaller. The US landing has been pushed back from 2026 to 2027. If it gets pushed back again, the gap might only be 2 years. China is very good at hitting their dates. They built their space station on time. They sent robots to the moon on time. NASA has had many delays lately. These timelines are getting very close. It is a hunt for information and a hunt for the best spot on the moon. The south pole of the moon is where the water is. Everyone wants to be there first. If you are not first, you might not get the best place to build your base. Let's talk about water on the moon. Water is life. You need it to drink. You need it to breathe because you can pull oxygen out of it. You can even turn it into rocket fuel. This is called using local resources. It sounds like a great idea. You find ice in the shadows of craters, you dig it up, you melt it, but the machines to do this are very heavy. They also need a lot of power. The moon is very dusty. This dust is not like the dust in your house. It is like ground glass. It is sharp and it gets into everything. It can ruin a machine in just a few days, and the moon is very cold. During the night, it can stay dark for 2 weeks. The temperature drops to hundreds of degrees below zero. Machines can freeze and break. So while we want to use moon water, we still have to bring a lot of water from Earth first. This backup water weighs many tons. It adds to the weight problem. To build a moon base, we need a plan that makes sense. It will not happen in one heroic landing. It will happen in steps. The first step is cargo flights. We need to send robots first. These robots will build landing pads. You cannot land a giant Starship on a dusty crater. The engines are so powerful they would kick up a huge cloud of rocks and dust. This cloud could move so fast it would act like a sandblaster. It could break the ship or other things nearby. So we need flat, hard pads first. After the pads, we need power. We need big solar panels or small nuclear reactors. Then we can send short crew visits. These people will stay for a few days and then come home. Later we can have longer stays. Finally, we can connect different rooms together to make a real base. This will take many years. It will take many flights. One Starship cannot deliver a full base. This is a common mistake people make. They think one ship lands and the base is done, but Starship needs fuel to get to the moon. To get one Starship to the moon with a full load of cargo, you need many other ships. These are called tankers. They are like gas stations in space. The main Starship goes into orbit around the Earth. Then 10 to 20 tanker ships have to fly up and give it fuel. This is a huge job. It means SpaceX has to be able to launch rockets very fast. They are already doing this. They fly about twice a week now. But for the moon, they might need to fly every day. This is a test of how well they can run their system. It is about how fast they can fix the rockets and put them back on the pad. The strategic intelligence here is in the scale. Starship changes the scale of what we can attempt. It does not make the moon easy. Physics does not care about how excited we are. Physics only cares about weight and fuel and energy. The moon is close compared to Mars, but it is still space. It is a vacuum that wants to kill you. If the air recycling breaks, the people inside the base have a big problem. They need backup air. They need backup water. All of these backups take up space and add weight. This is why the first bases will be small. They will grow slowly. They will grow piece by piece, one ship at a time. There is also the question of who makes the decisions. In the past, big projects like this were done by the government, but the government is often slow. They have to deal with many rules. Companies like SpaceX are different. They can take risks. They can build things fast fast and see if they break. If a rocket explodes during a test, they learn from it and build a better one. This is a different way of thinking. It is a competence hierarchy where the people who can build the best machine win. We have seen this with Starliner. That ship had many problems. It was built the old way. It was delayed for years and cost a lot of money. It showed that just because a company has been around for a long time does not mean they are the best at building new things. Boeing has had many problems lately. They have struggled with their space projects and their airplanes. This is a pattern. When a company stops focusing on the engineering and starts focusing only on the money, the machines start to fail. This has consequences for everyone. SpaceX has focused on the technical mastery of the rocket. They have made the Raptor engine one of the most advanced engines ever built. They use a special kind of fuel called methalox. This is a mix of methane and liquid oxygen. It is good because it is clean. It does not leave a mess inside the engine. This makes it easier to use the engine again and again. Reusing the rocket is the secret to making it cheap. If you threw away a whole airplane every time you flew across the ocean, a ticket would cost $1 million. But because we use the airplane thousands of times, the ticket is cheap. Starship is meant to be used hundreds of times. This is how you change the world. You make the trip so cheap that regular people can think about going. The moon base will be a test for Mars. Mars is much farther away. If something breaks on the moon, you can get home in 3 days. If something breaks on Mars, you might have to wait 2 years. So we have to get the moon base right first. We have to learn how to live in a place that wants to kill us. We have to learn how to keep machines running in the dust. We have to learn how to keep people healthy in radiation. Every ton of protection we figure out on the moon helps us for the next step. Starship version 3 is the tool that lets us start this work. It has the volume to carry the big machines. It has the power to land the heavy loads. But it still requires a very careful plan. Think about the resource protection. On Earth, we take things like air and water for granted. On a moon base, every drop of water is tracked. Every breath of air is counted. The systems that clean the air have to work perfectly. If they fail, it is a disaster. This is why the base needs to be built with very high quality. It is not like building a house where you can just open a window if it gets stuffy. The walls have to be thick enough to stop tiny space rocks. These rocks move much faster than a bullet. Even a tiny one could poke a hole in the base. This is why the mass problem is so important. You need weight to have safety. You need weight to have backup systems. Starship is the only ship being built right now that can carry that much weight. The competitive race with China is also about who sets the rules. The first people to build a base will decide how things are done. They will pick the best spots. They will set up the communication networks. This is a strategic intelligence game. The US wants to make sure that the moon stays open for everyone. To do that, they have to be there. They have to show they can lead. This is why the delays in the landing schedule are so serious. Every year of delay is a year where someone else could take the lead. The scoreboard is watching. The whole world is watching to see who can do it first. Building a base also requires a lot of people working together. It is not just about the astronauts. It is about the engineers on the ground. It is about the people building the engines and the people writing the software. When we look at the patterns of success, we see that the teams that can move fast and fix mistakes usually win. This is why SpaceX has become the leader. They do not wait for permission to try something new. They build it and test it. This is a hunt for information. They want to know what works and what doesn't as fast as possible. This way of working has changed the whole industry. Now other companies are trying to work faster too, but it is hard to change a big company that is used to doing things the old way. The landing on the moon will be a very scary moment. The pilot or the computer will have to find a safe spot in a field of craters and rocks. The dust will blow up and make it hard to see. This is why the first landings are the most risky. Once we have a landing pad, it gets much easier. The pad will be made of something like concrete or melted moon dirt. It will be flat and hard. This will stop the dust from flying everywhere. It will make it safe for the ship to land and take off. Without a pad, the bottom of the ship could be damaged by flying rocks. The engines could even blow a hole hole in the ground that makes the ship tilt over. If the ship tilts, it cannot take off again. The people would be stuck. This is why the cargo flights with robots must come first. They are the workers who prepare the way. The refueling in space is also a new thing. We have never done it on this scale before. It is like two giant ships meeting in the dark and connecting a hose. They are moving at thousands of miles per hour. If they hit each other too hard, they could both break. This requires very smart sensors and very smooth control. The Raptor engines are perfect for this because they can make those small adjustments. It is a dance of two giants. This is a system mechanic that must work every single time. If the refueling fails, the mission fails. This is why SpaceX is testing this now. They want to make sure they can do it perfectly before they put people on the ship. The moon base mass problem is a puzzle. How do you bring enough stuff to be safe without being too heavy to fly? The answer is to use the best technology. Use light materials that are very strong. Use smart computers to save power. And use a giant ship like Starship that can carry more than anything else. Starship version 3 is like a bridge. It connects the Earth to the moon in a way that was never possible before. It makes the space between them feel smaller. But even with a big ship, we must be careful. We must plan for every problem. We must protect our resources. We must keep our eye on the competition. In the end, the moon base is about more than just science. It is about the future of humans. It is about learning how to be a species that lives on more than one world. This is the biggest information hunt in history. We are looking for the secrets of how to survive in the stars. Starship is the truck that carries the tools for that hunt. It is the machine that makes it possible, but the people are the ones who have to make it work. They have to make the hard decisions. They have to fix the problems. They have to stay focused when things get tough. The moon is waiting. It is close, but it is still a vast and empty desert. It does not care about our dreams. It only cares about how well we build our machines. The transition from short visits to a real base will be the hardest part. It means building things that can last for years, not just days. It means building air systems that can run without stopping. It means building heaters that can survive the long, cold moon night. This is a massive task. It is one of the hardest things humans have ever tried to do. But with Starship, we finally have a ship that is big enough to try. We have the volume of 4 houses. We have the weight capacity of 15 pickup trucks per trip. We have the engines that can land with the precision of a dancer. The pieces are all coming together. It is not going to be easy. It is going to be a long and difficult road, but we are finally starting the journey. One ship at a time, we will build a home on the moon. Piece by piece, we will learn how to live in the stars. Quietly and carefully, we will move forward. The era of the moon base is starting. Starship version 3 is the key that opens the door. It is the moving truck for a whole new world. As we move forward, the strategic intelligence of the mission will focus on sustainability. We cannot just keep sending everything from Earth forever. We must eventually learn to use what is there. This is the only way to build a real colony. The justice consequences of this are clear. The nations and companies that lead the way will have the most influence on the future. They will be the ones who write the laws for the moon. They will be the ones who control the resources. This is why the competitive scoreboard matters so much right now. It is not just about bragging rights. It is about the future of human history. We are watching a change that is as big as the first ship sailing across the ocean. The pattern recognition shows us that technology moves in leaps. First, it is impossible. Then, it is expensive and rare. Finally, it becomes normal. Starship is the leap that makes space travel normal. It turns the moon from a far-off dream into a destination. It turns the massive weight of a moon base into a problem that can be solved. By simplifying the way we build things and the way we fly, we open the door for everyone. This is the competence of the engineers at work. They are solving the hardest problems in the world one by one. They are building a future where any anyone can look at the moon and know that people are living there. Every launch of a Starship is a step toward that future. Every test of the engines is a lesson learned. The mission is big, but the goal is simple. We want to go further. We want to know more. We want to build something that lasts. The moon base is the first step on that long road. It is the foundation for everything that comes next. With Starship version 3, we finally have the right tool for the job. It is a giant truck for a giant dream. We are ready to load it up and go. The moon is waiting for its first permanent residence. It is waiting for the sound of engines and the sight of new buildings. It is waiting for us to arrive, and when we do, we will be there to stay. This is the reality of the new space age. It is a reality built on mass, fuel, and energy. It is a reality built on the strength of our machines and the courage of our people. The journey has begun. We are on our way to the moon. This time we are going to stay, piece by piece, ship by ship. The base will grow, and the world will never be the same again. The size of the cargo bay on Starship V3 is really the most important thing to remember. When you have that much space, you don't have to be perfect with your packing. You can bring extra tools, you can bring extra parts, you can bring extra comfort for the crew. This is a huge change from the old days when every ounce was a problem. Now the problem is not room, it is weight and protection, but Starship can handle that too. It is the biggest rocket ever made. It is the most powerful machine humans have ever built, and it is going to change the way we think about the stars forever. The moon base is not just a science lab, it is a statement. It says that humans are no longer tied to just one planet. It says that we can build a home anywhere we want. It says that the future is wide open, and it all starts with a giant moving truck called Starship.